a lot of people got the vaccine because they were hearing him say, if you get the vaccine, you don't have to wear masks anymore.
And that continues to be CDC guidance.
And you can say that that's going to be the guidance forever.
I am not the CDC director.
I understand, but people don't care who tells them to wear a mask.
They should care.
If it's the White House,
Shouldn't
the
they care if
CDC,
it's a doctor, a medical expert, or a spokesperson? I think most Americans actually do care.
It's the government.
Okay.
Well, that's White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki defending the growing confusion on mask guidelines, where it's going across our country.
It comes as a number of cities and counties reimpose new mask mandates for everyone, including those who have been vaccinated. And that's in contrast with the CDC guidance.
Yeah, that's where the confusion is. And we're going to lay that out with our panels today. We have John Thomas, a Republican strategist, joining us live, as well as Rick Green, founder of PatriotAcademy.com, and Wendy Patrick, prosecutor and host of KCBQ Radio, The Answer, and a Newsmax columnist. Good to have all of you here. Wendy, I'll start with you on this. The messaging of it, if you're just watching it, you may think it's a baited question, but it was not. And the reason why is because there's a Washington Post report that there were backdoor talks with White House officials and the CDC on the possibility of changing mask guidelines. And that's where the reporter was questioning, because the conversation could only be requiring them again, as they are not required at this time, for vaccinated individuals. Wendy.
That's right, Sean. And there's a little bit of confusion surrounding that guidance. That's the understatement of the year. I'm going to say that is the understatement of the year, that there's confusion surrounding not only the guidelines, but the way they're changed. The most recent trend is some confusion surrounding the efficacy of the vaccine in preventing vaccinated people in gaining the virus from unvaccinated people. First of all, not everybody who's unvaccinated automatically carries COVID. But even if that were true, or were suspected to be true, why aren't people saying, well, isn't that why you got vaccinated? Why you rolled up your sleeve and got the shot so you didn't have to worry about somebody who's not wearing a mask potentially carrying COVID? And Sean, don't even get me started on the reality that people who have COVID or who don't have COVID, no matter if you're vaccinated or not, can still touch a surface, pick it up, and transmit it. So still some confusion. And if we reinstate those guidelines, there's just going to be public protest and pushback, not necessarily changing in the numbers.
Yeah, so much confusion. You're right. John, I want to go to this. Cities across the country, they're making their own rules. Take a look at what's happening in schools. Here are just some headlines from Chicago, Ohio, New Orleans, all reimposing masks for everyone. We heard Florida Governor Ron DeSantis yesterday say, yeah, no, this is not going to happen in Florida. We're not going to make kids wear masks. What do you think about this? Because, teachers are vaccinated if they want to get vaccinated. And you've got these kids, and they're little, and they're having to go into the potentially third year of wearing masks.
That's right. And we're in the summer, and certainly in certain parts of the country, having to wear a mask is horrible. Whether you're doing physical education, playing a sport, or quite frankly, it just makes it hard for students to understand what other students and other teachers are even saying. I know simply at restaurants, I struggle with that, talking to waiters. The problem is the government, particularly the Biden administration and Fauci, were never direct and honest with the American people. They crammed this vaccine down people's throats, saying it was the 100% guarantee catch-all, when it turns out it's not. And now they're trying to force everybody to take this vaccine, when now we know the vaccine doesn't give 100% coverage. It's mixed messaging, it's confusing, and the American people are waking up that they're saying, I'm not necessarily going to trust what Joe Biden says, what the spokesperson says, or quite frankly, even what Fauci says.
Rick, obviously the unvaccinated you've seen treated a little differently than the vaccinated, depending on where you go. Let's say concert venues, let's say what different network a guest would go on. I'll show you this. This is the media and how they're treating people for a variety of reasons. Those people that do not want to take the vaccine. This from a CBS report.
Before you got sick, if you would have had a chance to get the vaccine and prevent this, would you have taken the vaccine? Nope. So you'd have gone through this?
I'd have gone through this, yes, sir. Don't shove it down my throat. That's what's local, state, federal administration is trying to do, is shove it down your throat.
What are they shoving, the science?
Rick Green, your thoughts?
Well, Wendy had the right word. Confusion at best is what they continue to give us. That's why government should not be the ones making these decisions. We should be the ones making these decisions. I mean, look, we're seeing the data already showing 40 to 60% of the hospitalizations in Israel and the UK are people that were already vaccinated and they're still getting COVID. Maybe the best example are the fleeing, spoiled brat Texas Democrats who not only had the vaccine, they had private jets and Miller Lite, and they still got COVID. I mean, look, the masks don't work. There's no science to show that the masks work. The idea that we're going to require this of our children again, that is absolutely child abuse to require this on these kids all day long, again, with no science. I think the better question that we should be asking people is, look, if you had, 99.7% chance of not dying from cancer, should the government force chemotherapy on you? I mean, that's what we're talking about here. Let the individual decide based on their circumstances. And why do they continue to ignore the tens of millions of Americans that have the best immunity? They've already had COVID, and that's the best immunity, not even the vaccine itself. They should not have to wear masks either. Let the individual decide, not the government.
Vaccine is available for anyone that wants to get it of a certain age. If you want to get it, you can. That is your right and your choice. It has saved a lot of lives, potentially. That is out there. We know that. All right, John Thomas, Rick Green, Wendy Patrick. Stick around. More news to cover.
All right, and we're talking about this. A new report revealing Hunter Biden will in fact meet with prospective buyers at 2 art shows where his paintings will be on display later this year. Is this